Hello, everyone, and welcome. Happy Thursday. It's Thursday, which means it's another episode of the Sask Sports Show on ASTV, brought to you by Southwest Terminal. This week, I have a very special guest, and we're going to be talking about a very special community that is a finalist in this year's Kraft Hockeyville. Jamie Lees will be joining me tonight to talk about the town of Lumsden, Saskatchewan. Jamie is a volunteer who, with the help of the community of Lumsden, has actually gotten Lumsden into the Final Four of this year's Kraft Hockeyville. Tonight, her and I will be talking about the process of entering the contest, as well as the Lumsden Sports Center and what it means to the town. We'll also talk about what the town will do with the $250,000 if won, and also what's with the duck that's been photobombing everyone's pictures. It's here, it's now, it's the Sask Sports Show on ASTV, coming right up. And there she is, the guest of honor tonight, Jamie Lees. Jamie, how are you doing tonight?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing well, and I appreciate you coming on the show and talking more about the experience that the community and yourself have gone through to get into the Final Four of Kraft Hockeyville. I know it's an exciting time, probably for the, like we talked about before, the metropolis of Lumsden, Saskatchewan.
Yes, the booming town that we have here, population growing by the second, I tell you. It is beyond exciting. It's an electric feeling right now in town. I go for lots of walks with my kids, and you can feel it. Like everybody's just excited. So,
well, it's to be one of those communities, especially to get your name called to be the Final Four, along with the three other communities, one in Manitoba, one in New Brunswick, and I think one in Ontario. It's very exciting, especially because of all the work that you've had to put into getting to this point, along with yourself and a whole committee, I imagine, as well.
yeah, it's been a journey, to say the least. Like the hardest part was getting to this top four point, because you had to get everybody on board, and you had to rally our town and all the surrounding communities to get as many stories and pictures and all kinds of posts onto our page, onto our Kraft Hockeyville page. And then from there, we get selected to be the top four. So it's been a long journey. It's been not an easy one, but well worth it, that's for sure.
Well, to kind of before we kind of get into the logistics of the contest itself and talk about Lumsden, let's tell me a little bit about yourself.
Well, I guess I'm not born and raised in Lumsden. I'm just down the road a little bit. It's Strasbourg, Saskatchewan is where I actually come from. So small town farm girl. So understand, I've watched my parents volunteer for years and watched them understand the value of giving back. And so I wanted to find a way to do the same thing. And moving to a small town myself to raise my kids, that was one of my priorities, is making sure I found some way to give back to my community. So I got involved with the Lumsden Duck Derby, is where I originally started, and am the chair of that now. And then since the Duck Derby had to be canceled, I just sort of walked into this role. So it's been, kind of my story in all of this.
Well, what's your involvement? I know you're a volunteer, and you are the one in the video that is presented, on the Kraft Hockeyville website. Kind of how did it start, and what, like I said, what's your role involving in all of this?
Yeah, absolutely. So like I said, I'm the chair of the Lumsden Duck Derby, is how it sort of stemmed from. And we were sitting down. I always attend the rink board meetings just as a Duck Derby representative to make sure we know what's going on, because all of our funds from the Duck Derby go towards the rink. So we were talking about the loss of not having the Duck Derby this year and how we could find a way. And somebody at the table suggested Hockeyville, and we sort of all just nodded and smiled and thought, yeah, that's a great idea, but who's actually going to be crazy enough to take this on? And the crazy person emerged and said, well, I guess if I don't have the Duck Derby, I might as well give it a try and see where we go. So I started looking at all the rules and starting to see, well, and they didn't actually post anything for the longest time either. So I didn't know if it was going to happen or if it was going to run. And next thing you know, it was up and the deadline was coming up, and I was panicking, thinking we got to get our show on the road here. And so that's my involvement.
Well, and since you brought up the duck derby, and I imagine that has to be something to do. And like I said in my intro, there the ducks that have been photobombing everyone's pictures. Kind of tell me, explain to me a little bit about that duck derby, kind of what goes on.
Yeah, our Lumsden Duck Derby is the main fundraiser. So our rink is different than many other rinks. Lots of other rinks are funded by tax dollars or by the town, and ours is funded by both fundraising and sponsorship. So the Duck Derby has been around for 33 years, and that's what's been funding a lot of the capital projects in our rink. Due to COVID, obviously, we had to cancel that event last year, so it's left a big gap in our funding, and we were trying to find ways and creatively, I guess, look at fundraising or different fundraising. So that's why we tied our little duck to our Kraft Hockeyville too, because this is what we're really known for, is the Lumsden Duck Derby with our little 25,000 ducks floating down the river. And so we thought, if we're already known for this, we might as well use this for our Hockeyville campaign. So it worked out well to marry the two together.
Well, I honestly think that's cute because it's something to tie Lumsden to Kraft Hockeyville, like you said, is with the Ducks, and I thought it was very creative. And I was wondering because when I was doing my research before this interview, I was looking, I'm like, why is there what's with the Ducks? Everyone's has a duck, or there's a mascot of a duck, or and then obviously when you started talking about the Duck Derby, I'm like, oh, that's probably why. So that's pretty.
Truth be told, is I really wanted the Noodle Boy, but that was already taken. So I said, if we can't have Noodle Boy, we need something else cool. So a rubber duck was what I came up with. So.
Well, I'm gonna, you did bring up the Sportsplex, so kind of explain to me and tell me about the city of Lumsden itself, and also the Lumsden Sports Center that is, that's what the money is going to go towards if you win. Just kind of tell me how important that is to the town itself. Kind of what events happen there besides hockey and whatnot.
Well, our town's not even 2,000 people, so we're still pretty small. We're nestled into the valley right by the city of Regina there, and that community is, well, it truly is in the center of our community. So the rink is our hub, it's our heart, it's where everyone goes. So whether you play the sport of hockey or not, we also have a curling rink attached to it too. So I myself am actually a curler as well. So we have both of those sports that are combined together, but it's also just the place for the kids. It's their safe place. Like those kids used to go there after school every day, and they would just find that community piece in it. It's where, when I first moved to this town, that's where I met all my friends, is going into there, because it's what we do in Saskatchewan, is play the sport of hockey, and that's how you connect, and that's how you get to know the people around the area. So it's huge.
Well, and like you said, I lived in small town Saskatchewan, and that's what we'd always do because we had nothing else to do. We would go and play hockey until our legs were noodles. So, and you'd get together, go to the midget game on a Friday or Saturday night too, and the rink is a lot more than just a rink to these small towns. And
yeah, we do long cold winters, so we got to do something to entertain ourselves.
Well, and let's talk about when the town was announced as one of the finalists. What was going through your head and the minds of everybody in Lumsden, and kind of just tell me about the reaction when your name did get called.
It's a tough process, because we actually had to have all of our submissions and everything into the Kraft Hockeyville page on February 14th was the deadline for that. So then we had from February 14th till March 20th when the announcement was actually made. So we got like the hype, everybody was built up, everybody was excited, we got our page all in and it was good. And then we had to wait and wait and wait and wait. And everybody would ask me, and I'm like, I know what you know. I don't hear anything either. So we're all waiting to find out. And so shortly before, we had been contacted by Sportsnet just to do a little bit of a blurb about Lumsden and talk about that a little bit. And so that got us questioning, I guess, or wondering if we could actually be one of those top four. Of course, not knowing, thinking they maybe did this to all of the people that we had no idea. We knew no different. And so then it was trying to rally our town together again. And we have to watch this. We got to watch the top four and figure. And they're like, by that point, they'd kind of forgotten because it had been a month before. So no, we got people rallied. And of course, you have to remember during COVID, you can't really physically get together either. So it's trying to tell people, okay, turn it on in your home. And so we did finally convince people to tune in. And then, so since that announcement on March 20th, it's been just crazy, the amount of support coming in and everybody getting excited, all the businesses in town, everybody's finding a way to connect and get word out as best as they can.
Well, and it does help when you have that Facebook page and your Twitter page and your Instagram page as well. And actually, I'll put up on the screen here where you can go if you want to support Lumsden for Kraft Hockeyville. That's their Facebook page, and then Lum for Hockeyville on Twitter as well. It just, like I said, from what I've seen, the support and the stories that people have told, it's just incredible. And for something like this, it's great to see when a community and the surrounding community as well comes together for, such a great cause as, trying to, win that prize of $250,000 to, upgrade the rink or kind of whatever needs you need for your hockey rink.
Yeah, that page has made me laugh. It's made me cry. It's every emotion under the sun because your heart goes into this so much, and it's just, it's so neat to see everybody sharing their stories and sharing their hockey journeys and their passions and it's just, I don't know, it's a really cool thing to bring people together, especially when things are so down and negative right now. It's something to make people happy and make people smile. So I'm loving that piece of it.
Yeah, and Kraft Hockeyville is, it's been around. This is his 15th season of it. So, and I know that they've brought happiness and smiles, to communities all over Canada for, 15 years. And, hopefully Lumsden's name will be called come April 10th.
Yeah, that's exactly. I think the fact that Saskatchewan has never won this in 15 years is beyond me. I still can't really fathom that being such a hockey province that we are, it really shocks me. So I'm hoping that we are putting that losing streak to an end because there's been a lot of other communities that have made the top four. They just haven't made it to the final there. So we're hoping this is our year.
Well, and there's a lot going into it too. Like I was reading up on it, and you get certain, like for the nominate and rally kind of phase of the contest, you get points for, for certain submissions that you do present them, and right now we're going to take a commercial break. But when we come back, I really want to talk about some of those stories and the process of things that you did have to submit. And obviously I know you made a video. And so, when we come back from commercial, that's something that we're going to talk about. We're going to dive into a little bit deeper. And then a little bit later, we're going to be talking with Jamie about, what will they do with the $250,000 if they do win. So stay tuned for more of the Sask Sports Show. And we're back here on the Sask Sports Show with my lovely guest, Jamie Lees from Lumsden, Saskatchewan. And before the break, we were kind of talking a little bit about the logistics of entering the contest. And I just kind of want to dive deeper into that. And like what kind of, for the nominate and rally phase of this contest, kind of what kind of things did the city of Lumsden and yourself submit to them, as well as, maybe just some of the stories that were told as well?
That was something that we had to learn because we didn't know going into it. So as I was reading up, I thought, okay, we got to come up with a really good story and a really good video, and that's what we put in, and that everything's based off of that. Then we wait and find out from there. And it was Pence that reached out to us then, and we talked to them a little bit more, and they're like, no, you need everybody to be submitting their stories and their videos and their. So then panic hit, and we got everybody on board to try to get, which was the coolest experience, because some of the stories that I got to hear that I've never heard before, and the pictures. So as part of the page, you get options of different things you can do. So you can post a story, you can post a note, you can post a picture, you can post a video, and then you can like all the different pictures, like a Facebook kind of a deal too, and share things via Twitter too. So those are the options. And then you get points all based off of those different things that go up there. The stories are what get you the most points. So we were really encouraging people to get their stories, but the stories were so good. Like I spent way more time than I should have just scrolling through and reading some of the. We had people that, one of them that I really loved, it was somebody interviewed there. I think it was like their 4-year-old or their 5-year-old or something like that. And it was the cutest thing to hear being told from their point of view. And there were some that was grandparents submitting, and there was every age under the sun had put something into it, and the pictures. And yeah, it was one of those things. Also, I guess during the submission, it was due on February 14th, I think is when it was due. And it was that depth of winter where it was like the -50 gross, and everybody was hating your life at that point. So this was just like the best thing for people to feel that, I don't know, the warmth and the community and the happiness that we were searching for in that cold, harsh winter weather.
Well, and it's a long journey for this as well. Like, this all started on January 1st. Like the time from January 1st to February 14th was that nominate and rally time. And they're announcing it on the 10th, which is going to be Saturday this week. So that's over 4 months. And especially you're in the heart of winter, like you said, and you're probably still recovering from that storm we had in November that covered the whole province with snow and lots of it. And once this, like, kind of once you guys went ahead and started doing this and started getting those submissions, and how quick was the city of Lumsden to kind of rally behind this and be like, yeah, we have a chance on possibly becoming one of the finalists before obviously you guys were announced?
That was tough. It was tough to get word out because you couldn't meet, obviously. So it was me pretty much on my own Facebook page being like every day, okay, Lumsden, we need to do this and we need to go. And it was hard to convince people that, like, everybody wanted to share their stories or like the stuff on my Facebook. And I'm like, no, you have to get to the Hockeyville page. So it was a lot of educating people because it wasn't the easiest task for me either, like to actually go on the Hockeyville page and then the stories, you had to answer these 3 questions. And like, there were steps to it, right? When you had to actually put your story and stuff, you had to register. So you had to put your name and address and everything in there. And so it was so hard to convince people, okay, I love that you're liking and sharing my posts, but now you need to get them into our actual page. So I remember early on we were at, like, I don't know, 200 posts or something like that onto our page, and I was feeling defeated. Like, we need to do this. We can pull together. We need to do better. And I talked to Pence, and they're like, "Oh yeah, we got, like, I don't know, around 1,500 posts or something." And I'm like, 1,500? Like, I'm at 200 here, and I don't know what's going on. So I said, you know what? I know we have it in us. I just need to do a better job at educating people and getting them to understand the process, because it is a process. So once I got to, like, step-by-step instructions, then it's like, okay, people are starting to gain momentum. And then I don't know, it snowballed. And all of a sudden, the next day we were at, I think at the end, we were close to 2,400 posts. So it was amazing.
That's incredible. Just with, obviously, like you said, you're educating people, and social media to some people is like, speaking Mandarin.
Yes.
So, to be able to do that, and, and for the city of Lumsden to, get excited. And like you said, you're in the cold heart of winter in those January, February months, and to be one of the finalists. I just want to ask, how important that is just to get to this point for the town of Lumsden. with the and the community and like what's kind of the vibe that's been going around and like I said, the importance of getting to this point.
It's already a huge win, honestly, to get to the top four. We still are awarded with $25,000 at this point and $10,000 towards equipment. So that's still a huge win for us. And just the recognition, I guess, of putting our town on the map and recognizing, I think the chance for people to share their stories and to show what our community is about has been the most, I guess, heartwarming or refreshing thing to see, that people get their stories out there. We just had one of the posts on our page the other day, and it's a singer that's well known in our area, Marnie Duncan Carey's her name, and she interviewed her dad, and it was just I just sat there and cried because it was so good to hear these stories and these traditions that you don't get to hear on a regular basis, but social media has allowed us to do that, and Kraft Hockeyville has essentially allowed us to do that because like you don't get a chance to just sit there and share stories. So this is a way that people are able to do it. So getting to the top four has been wonderful, regardless of whether we make it, which still the hope is to do it. But yeah, it's been really neat. And just to see Saskatchewan come together, like it's no longer about the town of Lumsden. It's about Saskatchewan, that we've had so many people reaching out saying it's about time. And I had no idea. Like that's another piece, educating people had no idea that we've never won this before. So it's been huge.
Yeah, it's exciting time in Saskatchewan. And I'm, to kind of talk briefly about maybe some of these, like you said, it's not just about Lumsden, it's about the province of Saskatchewan. Like kind of what are some of the, I would say higher up, maybe celebrities in Saskatchewan and just some people that you obviously, I don't know if you've ever known or heard of, have been reaching out to you and, your Facebook page and whatnot and sharing their story. I'm not sure if I would imagine that Premier Scott Moe has made something for this as well, but just kind of explain to me some of the people that have shared their stories.
We did this little pass the duck video using our little duck mascot and tried to show that, because we can't obviously get together. So we tried to show that, okay, we're passing the duck to different people. And it's like, I've been starstruck because some of these people are people I thought I'd never get to talk to and meet in my life. And also I'm having like a phone conversation with an Edmonton Oiler or something. Like it's been crazy. So the first one that reached out, that was the biggest one for me, was Haley Wickenheiser. She's a huge role model to all of us. And so that one was huge. So her family's originally from the Lumsden area. Her mom had grown up there. And so she hopped on board. And then with the whole female program piece that we're trying to get going to, that was a big thing for her. Like I said, the Edmonton Oilers, that's Josh Archibald, is originally from the Lumsden area. So he, the night that I was texting him, asking him for this video, he scored a goal on TV. And we're all like, oh my gosh, we're going to have I'm just talking to you like it just, anyways, I was, those starstruck moments. And just, I don't know, it's been, Scott Moe has definitely been on lots of our things too, because he's been helpful in getting things across. Trying to think of some other ones that are Tanner Glass is another big one too, that he's born and raised in Lumsden. So it's, the names that I never thought I would be talking to these people, and I just try to act cool, like, oh yeah, I can do this. I was actually laughing. My kids were at the table the day that Josh Archibald had called, and I had another interview coming up with, I don't remember who it was at the time. And so I actually had to say, I'm sorry, I can't talk right now. I have to. So I hung up on him, and my kids were all looking. I'm like, I just hung up on an NHL player. Like, in what world did that happen? So,
I think that's a story you'll never forget. I don't think this.
My gosh. And my kids will never forget it too. We all just stare at each other like, I don't even know what I just did right now. So yeah.
That's cool.
I love that they get to see the journey too. Like, they've been a big part in it, and they've seen all the, like, we've been releasing a bunch of videos, so they get to see the first cuts of the videos, and they get to see behind the scenes portions and stuff. So it's neat.
Well, and video editing is fun. Obviously I do it for my show, but it's a thrill, when you're sitting there continuously for hours and hours making videos or shortening up the videos that they've sent you. It's a fun thing to do.
There's a lot of time and effort that go into those things, that's for sure. I don't envy people people who do that on a regular basis. That is definitely the case.
Well, and I feel that you've probably gotten to know the town of Lumsden more than in this short 4 months than maybe you would ever know living there for the rest of your life.
100%. That is one thing that I will not regret at all. SaskTel actually came out and they hired a film crew to do this mini documentary. I think they call it Max Minis or something like that. And the amount that I learned from, because we had lots of people talking about the history of everything, and I love that piece of it because I want to learn and know more about, obviously being a chair of the Duck Derby too, that this has been a tradition going on for 33 years. So like I love hearing all of these things of how this all started and the multiple rinks that have been built, that have been taken down by floods that I didn't even know about. And so, yeah, the history piece has been huge.
Well, and you brought up the fact of, the kind of the female program that you want to, that's what the money's going to go towards. So, we're going to take a quick commercial break. It's everyone's favorite time of the Sask Sports Show. It's commercial time here. So when we come back, I'm going to talk to Jamie about that female program that they will use the money to try to expand on and to grow as well. So when we come back, that is what we'll be talking about. And as well as at the very end of the show, I'm going to play a little video that, if people didn't know the town of Lumsden, they will after this little video. So we'll be right back.
Welcome to Pilot-Mound Hockey-Academy, your world-class academic and hockey training facility created to maximize each student's athletic and academic potential. Blackjack Stewart Arena, home of the Buffalo, is inside the 46,000 square foot complex, as well as a curling rink and other facilities. The students have a unique combination of successful, well-rounded education at Pilot-Mound Collegiate Institute and the professional hockey training in an encouraging community. The years of experience of on-ice coaching propel our students to the next level, both mentally and physically, in a professional environment.
And we're back here on the Sask Sports Show with Jamie Lee, one of the volunteers from Lumsden, Saskatchewan, that is a finalist in this year's Kraft Hockeyville. So, since you are a finalist, hoping to win that $250,000, and I kind of want to talk about what the town is going to do with that $250,000. I know you, like you said, you wanted to go toward expanding the female hockey program. I just want to ask you, like, what is the program like now, and how will the community expand the female program in Lumsden?
So the actual money itself has to go towards the physical facility. It can't go towards the actual program. But in order to, I guess, expand, we need to expand the facility itself. So that's what we're looking at doing, is adding more change rooms to our actual facility to give space. So right now we're just kind of in the beginning stages of that program. I shouldn't say beginning stages. We have a few teams already established. They're in place. And the Lynx, so that's the jersey I'm wearing tonight, is the LB Métier Lynx. And but we want to grow it into the older ages, because right now any of the older female, there's not, I'm trying to think the oldest one we have right now. But we don't have any that are going to be, any of the females that are in the older programs are playing with the male teams. And so then that's why they don't really have space right now, because they have to then go to a separate change room than obviously the rest of their team. And so they're put upstairs into this small little space that doesn't have any washrooms or showers or things like that. So we're trying to just build out our facility to allow for expansion, because we're hoping that this is going to start taking off from here on in. It's not just Lumsden, but we have a ton of surrounding communities that feed into us as well. So that's why if we build it, good old Field of Dreams, if we build it, then they will come. So that's our goal.
Well, and right now for the older girls that want to go play hockey, like, do they have to go into Regina to, play? If they're playing AAA, they play for the Rebels?
That's going to be Regina, or there's one just outside Regina as well. The Pilot-Butte area, White City area has a team as well, and that's where lots of our girls are traveling to too, which is hard on the families as well, that they have to travel and then that's just their home base. Well, now they have to play games outside of that as well. So it's a lot of travel, a lot of time, even practices. When you're doing all your practices in White City and Pilot Butte coming from Lumsden, that's a long journey. So that's why we want to hopefully develop it on this side of the city too, so that we can bring it to whoever wants it, have easy access to everybody, I guess, is the biggest thing.
Well, and I, like you said, if you build it, they will come, to have that opportunity for women or girls, females to have that opportunity to play hockey throughout their whole career, possibly is great. And so that money's going to go towards building more change rooms and expanding the arena, just to allow more room for them.
Yeah. Well, and I guess the other thing is the program itself, even just the uniqueness of how it got going. It was one of the dads from around this area that his daughter wanted to play ringette, or asked him to play ringette. And he said, okay, like, yeah, we can do that. It's obviously in Regina, but we can do that if you want to do it. But what about hockey? Like, why didn't you want to play hockey? And he himself was a big hockey player. And she said, because there's no girls hockey teams. That's why I want to play in ringette, because ringette's all girls. So he took that and he went with it, because there's no reason why there wasn't a all girls team. So it's been neat to see that program really develop, and to see the little guys right from initiation to working their way up. And we have some really talented hockey players all around, whether it's female, male. They're some talent in Lumsden for sure.
Well, and how many surrounding communities are feed the female hockey program right now?
Yeah, well, we're actually called the LBMHA is our association. So that's Lumsden Bethune Minor Hockey. And so that's our two communities that we go back and forth with. But it also encompasses Regina Beach, and encompasses Craven. We have people coming from Holdfast. We have people coming, like, there is a wide variety that feed in, because they don't have any of those programs. Some from Strasbourg, some from Southleaf, some from, it just depends on what they have in their hometowns. And if they don't have it, then that's where they feed into from here. So it's big.
Well, I know, I lived in Gull Lake, and my Bantam team, we had to share a team to create a team. We had to go, with Cabri, and then for our midget team, with Shaunavon. So it's, I feel like in those small communities, you rely on those other communities to create a hockey team, and you learn a lot about some different people that you would have never probably known beforehand.
Absolutely. Yeah. Forming bonds is a huge thing, because some of these kids don't go to school together every day. So their hockey team is a whole different friend group and a whole different circle, but you become a family. So it's really neat to see.
That's why I love the game of hockey. It brings people together.
Absolutely. That's been the toughest thing this year, is not having tournaments and not having those games to really feel like you're a team.
Well, and talking about a team, and obviously hockey as well, I want to, the winner gets an NHL game played at their rink. So I want to talk about how exciting it would be if that possibility was that Lumsden got to host that NHL game, and having all those celebrities there, like Ron McLean and Tara Stone, then obviously all the NHL celebrities for which teams are going to be participating in that game. Just kind of tell me how exciting it would be for the community itself.
Well, when I was starstruck enough to like hang up on one, I can only imagine actually meeting one face to face. But I honestly I picture the kids. I picture the kids just with their hands pressed against the glass. Like, they would just be so excited to have something like this. And that's something that's a history piece that they would never, ever forget. To see that bus roll in, to see them coming, like, it just, I get goosebumps thinking about that possibility.
I think, any town, and especially the winners of Kraft Hockeyville, I've watched those games that have been aired, and obviously getting that airtime too on Sportsnet for that hockey, that Hockeyville game as well, would be, just great. And I think if that happened, a lot of people would know where Lumsden, Saskatchewan was.
Absolutely. Yeah. Putting our name on the map for sure.
And to having that, stardom, I guess you should say, you'd want to say, for winning this. And I, talking about the that April 9th is coming up where you can start to vote. Where can people go and vote? If they want to vote for Lumsden, can they do it on the Facebook page? They got to go to Kraft Hockeyville, Canada's website. How do people go and vote?
That's a great question. Again, educating people is what we've been doing. So they do have to go to the actual Hockeyville site. So it's www.krafthockeyville.ca. And they can actually register now. So you can register your email now if you don't want to wait till later. But it doesn't matter. You can register the day of too. And 7 a.m. Saskatchewan time is when voting actually opens on Friday. And then it closes at 3 p.m. on Saturday. So I will be up for a full 32 hours. And when I look like this on live on Hockey Night in Canada, people will know why, because I've spent 32 hours voting. So that's what we're really hoping for, is that people will commit. 32 hours might be a little much for some people, but they can commit to voting as many times as they possibly can.
Well, that's exciting. And I imagine that there's going to be a lot of people in the province of Saskatchewan voting and rooting for, the city of Lumsden. I have to ask, how, like with COVID, usually, before COVID, they would meet in the school gym or in the hockey rink itself. How is, with COVID, it going to be different for when they actually have you guys live on air when they're announcing the winner?
That's been the hardest pill, I guess, for me to swallow. Is I have a phenomenal committee that we've been working with. It's just 4 of us hockey moms that have band together and been trying to pull this off. And unfortunately, due to COVID, we're only allowed to have one family that they're filming. So I get to be the lucky one. Me and my kids will be the only ones that will be on that screen when we win, which is such a tough pill to swallow, because it's not just me. This is our whole community surrounding. This is Saskatchewan, and yet so it's tough, because you want to obviously celebrate that victory with everybody, and to have to be good old COVID, but that's the rules that they gave us, so we're trying to follow along.
Well, and like you said, you got to follow the rules. You can't have everybody in the same room. I imagine that won't go over well if that happened, but it's at least you and your family get to be there and represent the town of Lumsden for Kraft Hockeyville. And my last question for you, I just want you to kind of summarize this journey that you've been on since January 1st, when this all started, and when the nomination and rally started, and what this all means to the community itself. I know we've kind of briefly talked about it, but that's my final question for you.
That's great. When you said 4 months, that kind of, I don't know, it shocked me. I guess I've never really thought of it being a 4-month journey, but it has been. It's been a long haul, and it's been emotional, I guess is the best word to describe it, because it's really pulling at your heartstrings to see these people coming together in a way that you never thought possible, especially in such down times when people are really struggling right now. And this has been a true positive thing, to see people sharing their stories and rallying and supporting each other and supporting our whole province. It's heartwarming to see that people still, I guess, have that in them in such time of despair, that we can do this together, and whether win or lose, we get to feel good again and share those stories and rally. So that's been, like I said, emotional is probably the best word to describe it. I love seeing it all. It's showing the true heart of our province, to show that the rink is everything to us. And like any other small town in Saskatchewan, they feel the exact same way.
Well, Jamie, I really appreciate you coming on the show and sharing your story and telling us more about the town of Lumsden, Saskatchewan, and talk about the rink and talk about this, like we just talked about, the journey that you and the community have gone through, and it's just amazing. And like I said, if people want to support and share their stories, they can go to your Facebook page, and also your Twitter page and your Instagram page as well. And like you said, voting does start at 7 o'clock Saskatchewan time on Friday, and it ends at, you said 3 p.m.?
3 p.m. on Saturday, you betcha. Yeah. And then Hockey Night in Canada. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. And then it will be announced on Hockey Night in Canada. So that's great. But before we end the show, I want to show this little video that is on Kraft Hockeyville's website about the your guys' video that you made for the town. So I hope you guys enjoy it and learn some more about Lumsden, Saskatchewan.
Welcome to Lumsden, Saskatchewan.
Lumsden is a small town located in southern Saskatchewan. We have just around 2,000 people here. Right here is the center of our whole community. It's the heart of our town. And I can't say that there would be a single person in this town that hasn't walked through those doors before.
Our rink is like our second home.
The game of hockey in Lumsden, it's huge. It seems like everyone loves the game. They love to support it, and there's always kids at the rink.
Hockey is my favorite sport.
If we won Kraft Hockeyville, our main goal and purpose is to really bring our female program alive. To add some more change rooms, or wanting to give that girls program a really good kickstart. We're really trying to find a way to make those girls feel valued and feel important and know that hockey's their sport too.
I like to play hockey because I can play with my friends.
We want to be the first to bring that Kraft Hockeyville title to our not only small town, but to our whole province.
Wow, what a great video. That was amazing.
Gets me every single time. It still gets me. Like I said, the emotions. I don't know. Maybe it's a crazy mom thing. I don't know. But
No, those kids are really cute, and just the passion and the excitement that these kids were feeling, to have that opportunity to not even just be in Kraft Hockeyville, but be a finalist, but also win. And it's just great to hear your story about the community rallying behind and supporting this in the whole province of Saskatchewan. So, Jamie, I thank you again, and I wish you all the best and all the luck, come Saturday. I know I'll be watching on Saturday to cheer on Lumsden, Saskatchewan, and hopefully, like you said, you can bring home Saskatchewan's first title.
You betcha. You meant to say you'll be voting and watching, is what?
Yes, I will.
I thought I heard that, but yeah.
I will be voting, and I'll be voting as much as I can, and I will spread the word as much as I can as well to get people to vote and send them to where they can vote.
Perfect. Thank you so much for having me on. It's been great.
You're very welcome, and like I said, I wish you all the best, Jamie.
Sounds good. Have a great night.
Yeah, you too. So there you have it. If you want to vote for Lumsden at this year's Kraft Hockeyville, the voting starts at 7 a.m. Saskatchewan times and ends at 3 p.m. on Saturday, and the winner will be announced on Hockey Night in Canada on Saturday night. So make sure to visit Kraft Hockeyville's website and vote for Lumsden. I don't know why I said that. It sounded like I didn't know what I was talking about. But thank you again for tuning in to another episode of the Sask Sports Show. I just wanted to thank our sponsor, Southwest Terminal, for sponsoring the Sask Sports Show, and also thank Jamie for coming on and telling her story. So if you missed an episode of the Sask Sports Show, you can tune in to our ASTV's Facebook page and catch every episode of the Sask Sports Show, and also astvproductions.com as well. So I appreciate you tuning in, and I hope you guys enjoyed the show, and I will see you again next week.